Hello, fabulous ladies. It is Camille here from Prioritize Love. And I'm super excited to be having a really special guest today as part of the Next Level Women interview series. So Vesna, welcome on the call.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here and talk about this.
So for the women who haven't met you, I'll just tell them a little bit more about you, of course, and then you can tell them all about yourself. So you are a naturopath, you are a coach, you're a speaker, you're a body-mind medicine expert as well. And you're very, very, well, let me give it over to you. You're much better at telling them all about you. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so I'm a naturopath and a coach. I've been doing this for about 20 years. I used to be in a clinic and now I do everything online, and I specialise in burnout recovery and helping women to kind of add the healthy and the happy back to the hustle is kind of the thing that I say. So really helping women who are driven but also burnt out and helping them to live kind of like a bigger life, and feel like their best selves again.
Beautiful.
So for me, this work, I kind of got into it because of, a little bit of, I was a naturopath because I grew up with naturopathic medicine. My mother we never went to doctors, hardly ever. We went to naturopaths, we went to homeopaths. My mother was really health conscious, and so I grew up around that. And so, when I was finishing school, I was like, yeah, I just want to be a naturopath and that's it, And, but when I graduated, I started my own clinic pretty much straight away, and was really young and had no business experience, obviously, and was really driven, had super high expectations of myself, and basically worked like a maniac. And, the clinic was very successful, but I was really burnt out. And I got to the point where I was, like having to have a nap during the day. I had put on all this weight. I had all these digestive issues. I had no libido, and I was recently married, and my hair was falling out. I had all this stuff going on. And I thought that being a naturopath and having a couple of dispensaries, I thought I can totally nip this in the bud. I know what this is. This is adrenal fatigue. This is burnout. And I took everything that I had in my, dispensary. I took the supplements. I took the herbs. I changed my diet. I cut so much stuff out of my diet because I was really allergic to a lot of foods. Did make a difference. Went to see other Chinese medicine, acupuncture, Reiki practitioners. I did meditation. I went to psychologists. I ended up going to hormone specialists and all of that kind of stuff. And none of that made me better. Okay. If anything, over time, it made me more anxious and stressed about the way that I was feeling.
Incredible.
Yeah. And so I really come to realize over time that it's more than just the stuff that we put into our body that impacts our health. It's certainly how we live and how we think and the stress in our life. So through that, I, do more of the mind-body medicine. I do the naturopathic and the nutrition and the herbs and all of that, but really bringing that mind-body medicine piece. So really looking at how are people living? How are their lives? How are they thinking? What's the quality of their, mental health as well?
I love that. And it's such an interesting thing that, it's similar with my own journey, that your journey ended up inspiring you to create something really unique and really extraordinary. So if you didn't actually go through those challenges yourself, you would have never created the programs that you're now running.
It's interesting, because I remember being in clinic and thinking, once I realized that my body healed really fast, once the stress was gone out of my life, then I was like, when I was helping my patients, I was like, I can't just keep prescribing anymore. Like, this doesn't make sense anymore. I can see that there's so much more than this, and so much more than just feeling good, but a better quality of life for women and men as well.
Absolutely.
It really changed the way that I practice. I think if I didn't go through that, I don't know, I was starting to get a little bit kind of disconnected from my profession because I felt like it was becoming very much a prescription model. Yeah.
Got it. And another question around that passion and that purpose, it's because it sounds like you knew what you wanted to do from a very early age, it's quite rare really. So you were very much on a mission and you were passionate about it. What was your bigger driver in regards to, working really hard and making it successful? Like even now, like what's that bigger drive around like having an extraordinary business rather than just like sort of, okay, things are going well? What is your personal driver to always aim for more?
Yeah, I think, certainly back in the early days, I grew up in a family that worked really hard, and my parents always had businesses, and so I was always
grew up in that environment.
I really did. And we worked from a very young age. I grew up in a European family, so they work you really early, and which was good. Like, I had a really strong work ethic and still do. But I think the driver for me today is I love what I do, and I love interacting with more women. And so the program that I have today is available for quite a large mass of women, which I really love doing. So I still love the one-on-one, but certainly love to connect with more women. And I don't know, I think the driver is everyone's always reaching out for something. And so I think, okay, I can help you with that. I'll just do it. It's
absolutely. And
progression, yeah.
And again, I mean, I was just curious. Yeah, I was curious from an early on age what the sort of, that makes perfect sense. But of course now you have created something so unique, and of course you want to share it with as many women as you possibly can, because it's health and energy is absolutely crucial to anything. We can't have amazing, extraordinary lives without having our energy in a really good place.
So true. And, I mean, I can imagine for your women, they're so driven and want an exceptional life. And you'll notice on the days that you're tired and your mood's really low that you're not living an exceptional life. You're just coping, you're just getting through.
And that's exactly why we decided to do this interview, because I came across you not long ago, and I watched one of your webinars, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to interview this woman. She's, you really inspired me with what you shared. And then we had a quick chat and realized that a lot of women who are our clients have similar themes. So there are those women who do tend to push themselves. They create a great life, and they are ambitious, but often when they come home from work, or if they have their businesses, at the end of the day it's often really hard to unwind, or there's that total exhaustion. So tell us a little bit, I guess, about that. Leads me to the next question with, what are some of the symptoms of adrenal fatigue?
Yeah, so definitely fatigue, like this constant exhaustion. And, it's different for everyone. So I notice, like, with driven women, like they'll probably more so wake up tired, they'll need the coffee to get going. Yes. And then they'll push themselves through the day, and they'll probably go to the gym at night, even though they don't have any energy, but then that's it. That's all they've got in the tank. They'll come home and come on the couch. And so what happens is that, it has this real impact on their life, because it just shrinks. Life shrinks. They're not as social. They're not probably dating. They don't have the hobbies that they used to have. They're not doing the things that they used to do because they don't have the energy. And so it ends up really kind of impacting their life.
And I guess from the outside, no one would probably know, because as you said, they're still fit they still go to the gym, they still achieve things, but internally they don't feel great. So is there also a feeling of like flatness? Like, can that, when I think you talked about in the webinar that sometimes depression and adrenal fatigue can look similar. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Of course, when we're really tired, it affects our moods and our emotions, right?
Yeah. So, and it's even more than that. So definitely, as you're tired, your mood is affected. So certainly with adrenal fatigue, there's mood changes. Like, women can either be irritable or bitchy, and snappy or angry, or they can be really sad and depressed, and have these depression-like symptoms. Yeah. And burnout and depression look very much the same, but the treatment that's offered is very different. Okay. And so with, the kind of depression in burnout, because there's so many hormonal changes going on in the body, we looked at, with depression, they used to say it's a chemical deficiency. In the brain. And now what they're finding is that it's actually the brain is inflamed, and that's affecting the chemistry in the brain and causing depression. And so with burnout, or adrenal fatigue, we get poor gut function, poor liver function. All of that is having a systemic effect, which then affects the brain. And so women can feel like they're depressed. They can feel like, I have women say to me, I feel like I've got no life force in my body. I feel like I'm slowly dying on the inside. Like, I have no joy. They're not excited about things anymore. It's just really flatline. So those are the kind of kind of depressive symptoms. But again, driven women can be still achieving goals and things like that while having depression or those kinds of
Absolutely. And of course, it's so important to then realize, hang on, there's something not working here. Like what happens if a woman just ignores those symptoms and just keeps on going and going and going? Is it harder to get that balance back the longer you wait?
Do you know, there's I love this quote by a woman, Dina Gloverman. She wrote this book called The Joy of Burnout, and it's such a beautiful way to describe burnout. It's basically, she says, your soul withdraws from what you're doing and it no longer gives you the energy to keep going in that direction. So those symptoms come on as almost like a tap on the shoulder to say, where you're going, we can't head there anymore. We need to turn right or we need to turn left, and so if you ignore it, eventually the body stops. You burn out. You can't do anything. Like some people are just bedridden for a time.
You might not be able to actually get out of bed. So it can get as bad as having chronic fatigue.
Yeah. And look, when you're in adrenal fatigue, I think the worst case scenario, and I don't like to use kind of worst case scenarios, but really with adrenal fatigue, we have our self-healing systems shut down because we're in such a state of stress. So therefore, anything can come about when our self-healing systems are shut down. And so just as an overall, like it could lead to anything, but really what it leads to is like that complete burnout, bedridden, can't function. Some women quit their jobs or they go part-time. They just can't cope anymore. Yeah.
Wow. So definitely, it's definitely so important to actually do something.
Yeah.
Do something.
Eventually, yeah, because eventually the body just stops and goes, no, we're not going any further. That's, I've given you warning signs.
Can't achieve anything from that place, right?
Correct.
So, we talked a bit, you touched on supplements, and I've always been very interested in supplements and have taken lots of different supplements along the years. So why can't we just fix it with like taking some good supplements, some B vitamins or some ginseng or, all those different herbs that are out there? Why is that not going to fix the problem?
Because adrenal fatigue, like we talk about adrenal fatigue being tired adrenals, but it's just an easier way to explain it without getting too technical. But it's not just the adrenal glands. The control of hormones from the adrenals is not happening by the adrenals. It's happening by the nervous system. So this whole system is impacted. And if you're just targeting the adrenals, you're making them work a lot harder, but you haven't addressed what's actually got the foot on the gas. Okay. And so therefore you can push someone further into adrenal fatigue. That's certainly what I did. I did that years ago. I was like taking all these ginsengs and the B5 and B6 and all this kind of stuff. And I just pushed myself further into adrenal fatigue because I was trying to live off the adrenaline.
Got it.
Going and I was so tired.
Actually, it's still not addressing the underlying issue.
No, it'll just help you to maybe cope for a little while, but it can make it worse because there's so much at play there. It's not just the adrenals. Yeah.
So we will talk about your program in a little bit, but I guess maybe if you could tell the women a little bit about once they do implement what you teach, what can shift quite quickly, or what can happen in a fairly short period of time?
Well, I always think, the body is an amazing thing and it can recover really, really quickly. Everyone's journey is different, but I always think there's that ability for the body to bounce back super quickly. And that's because we have these inbuilt self-healing mechanisms and that's what they're there for. So, in my program, I do a 10-day total body reset, which is what I get women to start with. And normally in the first week, women are saying, oh my goodness, I feel so much better. Some women feel like a massive shift in their energy, in their mood, even in their weight. Some women drop a lot of weight in the first week.
Even at the start.
Yeah. Everyone's different. But, when your body gets good nutrition and it relaxes, take the stressful foods out and you make some little tweaks to the lifestyle, the body just is like, oh, thank goodness, and then everything can just accelerate. The healing can accelerate when your body's in that relaxed state. One question, and do we have to give up coffee? Do we have to give up caffeine? I love my one coffee day. It's so funny. I had a post on Facebook and my woman that helps me with my Facebook, she's like, I don't think you could talk about coffee anymore. No one wanted to hear that, to give up coffee. So what I recommend is don't have coffee on an empty stomach. okay? Because when you wake up in the morning and you're breaking your fast, if what you're doing is having a shot of caffeine, it's going to stimulate more adrenaline, which means it'll place you in a stress response, which is to heal from adrenal fatigue and burnout. You want to move away from the stress response and be more relaxed. That's the place that the body heals. And so just have breakfast first and then have a coffee after that.
Which is such a simple thing, right? It's such an easy thing to do. But like, again, if I didn't ask you that question, I probably, and I did actually, you know, I heard you talk about that
on the webinar.
On the webinar, and I've actually started doing that now. Now you're reminding me. I'm now starting with a smoothie, and then I have a coffee later, and I have noticed the difference, because it is that, usually it's that, you know, that, okay, got to get up, coffee first. It's just a habit, but then you sort of get into that real like buzziness, and then you get a bit of a. So it's different when you have some food first. So again, it's a very simple thing to change. But
I had a woman I just had a woman email me this morning saying that, you know, she watched the webinar and she did that first thing, and she goes, I feel better already. This is amazing. So it can be just such simple little things like that. And, you know, if for your women, if they're going to the gym in the morning, then if they don't want to have breakfast, then just have like a small snack. I always say nuts. It's a really good kind of all-round snack, and have that before they go to the gym. And then when they come home, eat breakfast immediately before a coffee.
Perfect. And one more question before we go into the sort of what the program is. You talked about the weight gain as well. So I'm guessing some of the women listening might be wondering, like, how is that related? You know, what would cause me to put on weight, other than me, you know, eating too much, or why is it connected to what you do?
So in a healthy metabolism, our body should be able to maintain our weight really easily. Okay, so there's all these feedback mechanisms that happen in the body. So when we have excess body fat, it releases a hormone called leptin, and that leptin is picked up by the brain, and then the brain goes, okay, we've got a little bit too much body fat, so let's increase the metabolism and decrease, like lower the hunger and the cravings, okay, and the body will naturally burn that off. But in an unhealthy, or kind of like I always say, sometimes a broken metabolism, is what happens is that the brain's not picking up on those leptin levels, and there's almost like a disconnect between mind and body. And so therefore the brain thinks that there isn't enough fat on the body, and so it does the opposite of what we want it to do. It slows down the metabolism, because it thinks that, well, we need to add more body fat, and let's increase the hunger and the cravings. Okay, so it's a really hard place to be, to try to lose weight or to even maintain your weight. And so the reason why that happens is because when we're stressed or in adrenal fatigue, our body has two sources of fuel. Okay, it's glucose or body fat. And when we're stressed, every single time our body will go for glucose. Okay, it won't go for our body fat. And when we're relaxed, our body knows that it's safe to burn body fat for fuel. Okay.
So is it because of the fight? That's the fight and flight kind of thing.
Yeah. And so once we're in kind of fat burning phase, so not even just for weight loss, but for energy, body fat gives us really high energy that lasts all day long. Okay, and that's really where we want to be. But when we're stressed and in adrenal fatigue, that's not happening. Okay, we're just running off glucose. And then as soon as that glucose tank in our body runs low, the body goes, I need more, because you're still stressed. We need to refill it. And so either you'll get the cravings, you get the hunger to eat more. And if you resist that through willpower, then the body will break down muscle tissue and convert that into glucose to refill that tank. And so therefore you get this change in body type as well, right? So you're losing muscle, you're depositing fat, so your body shape changes, you get more cellulite, things like that.
Oh, fascinating. So let's talk. There's so much to it, and you know, I love the topic, because it's definitely something. You know, I used to do a lot of research around health as well. So it was a bit of a side passion. So let's, for the women who are interested in finding out more about the program, let's talk a little bit about what it includes. I think we're going to go through the different sections, and you know, who it's for, and how does it all work.
Sure. So it's a online program, and we also have a community. And so it's 6 modules, it's over 6 weeks, and it's you can access the program from anywhere. You can do it on, like, there's videos, there's workbooks, there's recipes, there's meal plans, like everything is kind of laid out, so it's really easy to follow. And it's designed for the busy woman who doesn't have time to kind of like faff around in the kitchen or work out meal plans. And
I love that.
yeah, you're not going to spend all night in the kitchen doing, you know,
Who's
making
got time for that?
Oh my goodness. So the first thing that we do is, so I do the 10-day total body reset, which is just giving them one thing to do each day. And so I find that that really works well to change the way that they feel really quickly, and, you know, increases that motivation, you know, to keep going and doing the deeper work, so to speak. There's also blood testing. So I do recommend particular blood tests to get from their GP to look at where they are in terms of adrenal health. Thyroid health is a big one. Okay, so adrenals and the thyroid have like a direct relationship, and so whatever the adrenals are doing, the thyroid will be doing the same. Okay, so it's really important from a energy and mood. Okay, so low thyroid's linked to depression. And brain fog, you know, a lot of women get brain fog, that's all thyroid stuff. So it's important to see where that's at. We also look at, you know, the body's pH. So all these factors that are going to make women more tired, sluggish, anxious, depressed, stressed, and gaining weight. And so we look at kind of where they are in the beginning and kind of track that along the way.
And I'm glad you mentioned actually, just with so the brain fog and anxiety can definitely be another symptom that something's not quite right.
Yeah, and so a lot of women, you know, they don't realise that they're really stressed or highly strung or, you know, worried all the time. They can't let things go, but they come home and they need the wine to unwind. Do you know, like, because they can't relax. Yeah, so it's really common.
Love that.
Yeah, and so the second part is we do an adrenal reset plan, and so this is a food plan for 28 days, telling you exactly, you know, what foods to take out which are going to make your body more stressed and slow down recovery, and what foods to include to heal the recovery of, you know, adrenal fatigue and thyroid health and gut health, etc. So that's kind of,
and it's not so you can still eat nice food. So it's not like super strict with only eating 3 types of food or something like that.
No, it's definitely an abundance of food. It's full of nutrition. It's everyday foods that you can buy, you know, from the supermarket. It's you can still eat out. It's just following certain principles. So we kind of have it to, you know, some women love detail and they love structure and they love, like, you know, tell me how much of this and how much of that. So we have that too, but we didn't always have that. We recently brought that in because that's what women wanted. That's fine. That works for some women, but for some women that's overwhelming, right? They just want to be told, okay, so from
I like the big picture only, yeah.
Me too. It works for me. And so we have both. So we kind of cater for both. But it's really simple to follow. And the third week, we look at balancing the blood glucose levels. So this is a big one because it affects our blood glucose levels, or imbalances in our blood glucose has so much effect on our mood. And they're finding that really has a big impact on our mental health. And not just that, like, anxiety, irritability, mood swings, and also balancing your blood glucose levels will give you energy all day long. Okay, so that's kind of, you can keep that balance, and it'll get rid of the cravings that some of the women, when you're tired, you have cravings. I remember for me, when I went through burnout, I was living off coffee and M&Ms. You know, they were kind of getting through the day because the body needs that
coffee.
Yeah. So we get rid of all of that. And then on the 4th week, we're looking at healing the gut. And the reason why this is so important, because basically in adrenal fatigue, there are 3 key systems that break down. Our hormones, so all our hormones go out of balance, our gut and our liver. And the gut is important because a lot of inflammation that happens in the body starts in the gut. And our gut is seen as our second brain. And inflammation that starts there inflames the brain, we get anxiety, we get depression.
A lot of connection with depression and gut health, right?
Definitely. And so, and not just for that, like a lot of women come into the program and say, I feel like I'm 6 months pregnant and I'm not. You know, they feel so bloated. And so that will repair that, and which also means that you're absorbing the nutrition from your food. Okay.
Love that.
And then the 5th week, we're doing a liver detox. Okay, so whenever the gut is broken down, it eventually, I kind of talk about it like dominoes. First it's the hormones, then it's the gut, then it's the liver detox pathways breakdown. And what that means is that we start to accumulate more toxicity in the body. That toxicity can make us feel, as some women say to me, I feel like I'm 100 years old. I feel so stiff and sore and tired, and it's because of all this toxicity building up in the system. It's important to activate our thyroid hormones for our metabolism. And also too, like, our toxins are stored in our body fat. And so if we have a lot of toxic buildup and we don't detoxify the liver, then the body needs to produce more body fat in order to store that toxicity. Okay, and so that's why people lose weight on a detox, is because the liver is functioning correctly again.
And then you can actually let go of the excess fat.
Yeah, the body knows, okay, I can let go of that body fat because the liver can process it now, and we can get it out of the body quickly. Yeah. And then the week 6 is the happy hormone plan. So I really go into specific herbals for the adrenals, for the nervous system, for the thyroid, but looking at it once, you need to heal those systems first. I don't like to start with supplements because it's the wrong way around. Yeah, it's a wrong way around. We need to do the healing work and then support the body with herbals and nutritionals after that.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
And so just a quick question before I forget. With once all the systems are really in harmony and you've done a detox and your gut health is at a good place and all of that, like, will we experience a lot less moodiness around PMT? And, you know, is there a lot more level going to happen?
Yeah, because what you find, like, cortisol is our main stress hormone, and that's the one that gets thrown out with adrenal fatigue. But cortisol has this ability to take the other hormones offline. And so therefore we get a lot of PMS and PMT and all that stuff going on. And so once you heal that, the hormones can just recalibrate naturally, right? And so a lot of women find that they don't have, you know, women will say in the group, oh, I didn't even realize my period was coming. That's like a first, that's like a miracle. You know?
Yeah, I've had that experience before. When I'm really healthy, there's not much that, yeah, absolutely. Amazing.
Yeah, so definitely PMS and PMT, you know, it just disappears for women for sure. Cool. And, you know, there's also bonuses that we have in the program. So that was
just going back. So that was the last week with then really creating a plan moving forwards.
Yeah, so we do, you know, the happy hormone plan, and then there's the, you know, beyond, what's beyond bye-bye burnout. So
absolutely. So then
how do you maintain this? What does it look like to maintain? Yeah.
Maintaining it is, of course, absolutely key.
Yeah. But what I find is that because we really, within the program, what makes this so different is that you do have the naturopathic strategy. We do a lot of mindset stuff because it's not enough to just know what to do. I mean, you could Google anything these days and find an answer, find some adrenal herbs that you can take. But it's our triggers and our roadblocks and things like that that make us kind of fall off the wagon, so to speak. And so that's why mindset is so important in order to help these women get over their roadblocks, right, while they're doing this work. But there's also...
And you mentioned the community as well. So there's that way of, you know, sharing the journey with other women, being able to reach out and connect. I think that's a big part of any kind of transformation.
Definitely. And our community is really active and we're really responsive to questions. There's 3 of us in there, so we're busy and we want everyone to move forward really easily. We don't want anything to kind of stop them, you know, and so we're kind of very proactive with that. And then the other thing is, like, it's a maintenance thing. Like, throughout the program, you're building habits in so slowly that some women don't even notice what they're doing. And then when they get to the end of it, like, I can't believe I just done all of that. And this is now my routine, right?
I love that.
We're stacking habits so that at the end of the 6 weeks, it feels second nature for you to do this. It feels like, I always say that a habit is something like when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to remind yourself or convince yourself to brush your teeth. You just do it, right?
Absolutely. So
yeah,
all about creating new habits. And of course, it's middle of December. It's actually a perfect time to create some changes to really sort of set yourself up for a really amazing year. So I guess if someone would start pretty much, you know, straight away, that would take them till end of January.
Yeah, so they started straight away. They could, and even during the Christmas time, like, you can even have a pause, like, if you wanted to, like,
sure, have a little bit of a...
Yeah, like, some women are going to do that. That's totally fine. But yeah, I mean, you could do the first, you know, 3 weeks of the program. It doesn't matter. I mean, some women are going to do the program right through. It really depends on, or some women are going to start in January, and that's totally fine too. But
right, so you can
know what you're going to be doing. Sorry?
You can do it in your own time, as far as, and you can access the content again at a later stage. So there's like...
So with the online portal, yeah, you have unlimited access to it. Like, as long as it's alive online, which I don't see it going anywhere, they have full access to it all the time. So they can take their time with it. They can start later. They can do it again if they want to next year, maybe do another detox or something like that. They can totally do that.
And you were going to mention there are a couple of bonuses as well.
Yes. So we've got the Mind Reset Kit. So the Mind Reset Kit is about really that mindset piece. So 80% of our stress today is mental and emotional. Okay, so, you know, our stress response used to be activated by, you know, war, famine, extreme temperatures, but today we're thinking all of our stress, and that's what's activating the stress response and causing our adrenal fatigue and our burnout. And so the Mind Reset Kit is really about understanding our mind and our thoughts and our thinking and where our experience comes from. And all I can really say about this piece, because it's kind of something that you have to listen to, but the women say that this piece is a game changer for them, okay, to stop them from worrying so much. They don't feel overwhelmed with things anymore. I had one of the women say that, you know, she could have more fun with people and have more fun with her kids because she wasn't so, you know, stressed and serious and having too much on her mind. So
that's a really good point that you're making. That's a massive thing in the modern woman's life. With, you know, we can have great lives, but I often talk to my clients too, and they feel like even when they go out for lunch with girlfriends, they don't feel they can totally just relax. There's that constant thing about the future and, oh, I need to do this afternoon, and always in that sort of, I guess it is the fight and flight and planning. And so what's the point of creating success, financial success and reaching goals if we can't really enjoy just being? And that's a really important point.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm sure that you'll find a lot of this with your women is that, you know, they're always setting new goals, like new things to reach, to find that kind of peace, you know, find that kind of fulfillment and peace. But it really is an internal experience. And I think, yeah, you can have all the success that you want, but if you don't have peace within yourself, then you can't really enjoy it.
Absolutely. Then it's all just, it's meaningless.
Yeah.
So it sounds like an amazing program with so much value. So how much is the program?
Okay, so the program's normally $997, and so for your people, it's $497 for the next couple of days. I think we've got it until Monday. We've got it until Monday. Yeah, it is Monday.
Brilliant. So it's pretty much half price, and
then you've got the bonuses. There's a couple of other bonuses. The Chaos to Calm, which is all about that mind-body medicine perspective. So I give you different strategies in order to switch on the relaxation response so your body can heal a lot faster. And then we've got Awaken Your Passion. So I don't know if you find this with your women, but I certainly find with burnout, passion disappears.
Totally.
Like really linked to energy and life force. And so,
absolutely.
Yeah. So Awaken Your Passion is really about getting them reconnected to what their passion is, or finding a new passion, you know, because I've seen how passion can literally change women's energy and health, like from one week to the next. It's incredible. Yeah.
I love that. So amazing value. So all they need to do, if someone's ready to jump in, so basically clicking on the link below, and then so that she can access the content pretty much straight away.
Yeah, so she can get started immediately. As soon as she signs up, get started, come into the community, say hi, and start on the 10-day Total Body Reset Challenge, and, you know, start feeling better as quickly as possible. And so we do different things in the group to keep people accountable and to kind of share their wins. And yeah, so it's a really active community. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, they can get started right away.
And there is, I believe there is a payment plan available as well.
Yes. So if you want to do the payment plan, it's 2 payments of $297. And so you'll pay $297 today, and then you don't pay another $297 until this time next month. So it gives you a nice bit of space there. Yeah. So
it's a no-brainer offer.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved, you know, interviewing you. And I mean, there's so much more we could talk about.
I know, there is.
So
the other thing that I wanted to offer is the Energy Reboot Kit for your people. Like if they wanted to kind of have a bit of a look around it and see what things they can start to do immediately, I've got my Energy Reboot Kit, which I talk about like 4 key things that will help them to have more energy, you know, in the next couple of days. I always say 7 days. 7 days, double your energy with the Energy Reboot. So
I love that. So we'll be sharing the link for that as well, just for women to maybe have a bit more of a taste of exactly what it is you do.
Exactly.
So before we wrap up, so again, of course, highly recommend anyone to take advantage of that offer. So we will keep it open till Monday. So today is Thursday, the 13th. So up until Monday, which I believe is the 17th of December. A great Christmas present for yourself. So before we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to share around, around the topic of having the cake and eating it too, or really about following your passion? Because that's, of course, the big theme that I talk to women about, that, that having that more rich and fulfilling life. That, is there anything else, a story or anything that's helped you really?
Do you mean like kind of having it all, like the women that is that what you mean? Like having it all, cake and eat it
all. Yeah. What's your version of it, and what's been your inspiration again for really believing in yourself, and for you to really put your, because of course as coaches and being in business and what we do, we do have to consistently, we're doing this interview, we got to believe in ourselves, we've got to back ourselves. So maybe, for women who are listening who would like to be more like that in their businesses or their careers, what would be your kind of advice for that?
I think, certainly for me, like I remember a couple of years ago I did an interview series called the Woman Reinvention Project, and basically interviewed amazing women. And what I really discovered was that they just really looked after themselves. That was one thing. Like they really did have it all, but they didn't do it all. They outsourced stuff. Yes. They were really clear on their boundaries. And that was really inspiring to me, because I could see that. I always used to have this almost like view that you can't have it all, like maybe, and that's why I did the interview series, right? And I saw so many women that were just, living such an amazing life, were like doing international speaking tours and things like that, and still, had their family, had their partner, were healthy, were meditating, and I was just like, this is amazing, right? So I think seeing that, being surrounded by that, and I certainly
that. And it very much ties in what you talk about with, if we want to have that, if we want to have it all, we can have it all. However, we do need to work for it, and we need to really manage our energy, and we need to have strong boundaries in place. We need to be clear on what we say no to and what we say yes to.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, like really, you have to treat yourself as something so important in your business, because you are your business, and if you're having think about when you have a bad day, when you've got bad mood, when you have a low mood, you're like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. And so if you have a lot of them, you're not going to be doing anything, right? So you really need to, I've really seen how that has a big impact on productivity and
absolutely
creativity as well, what I bring into my business. Yeah.
Absolutely. So absolutely key that we get our health into alignment. And because as you said, like sometimes when there's moodiness, or even around that time of the month, it could potentially throw us off track for quite a few days.
And that's a lot in business, quite a few days. The other thing I would say, and it's kind of tied into that, is having a group of women that are out there doing it, like being inspired by a group of women. Like I have a group of friends that they're all entrepreneurs or all have their own businesses, and they're doing amazing things, and they're balanced. They're doing things the right way, and so it's always good to be surrounded by that, because it's always a good reminder.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's gold. So again, thank you so much for being on the interview. And then we're sharing the links underneath. So if you're watching right now, all you need to do is just click on one of those links, or both of those links, either to enroll in the program or to take advantage of the free download as well.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Camille. I've really enjoyed this.
Me too. I love interviewing amazing women as well. So it's one of my most favorite things. So thanks so much to agreeing, and thanks for your generosity and taking the time.
You're welcome.
We'll chat soon.
Sounds good.